Hi guys, happy Easter and welcome to this week's collective reading. The main card for this week's reading is Stepping Stones in a reverse position. So what I want you to be thinking about as you listen to this reading is what small steps can you currently be taking, right, to move yourself in the direction you want to be moving, but that you aren't, right? It's this idea that whatever goal you have, there are steps that will take you toward it, right? These stepping stones, but something is holding you back. No, I take that all back. There is this message coming through now that's suggesting maybe you feel like you've taken a step backwards. Like there's movement in the wrong direction. And this companion card comes into this message. And what it's trying to say is that it's not backwards, right? This is just a redirection. It's kind of like this feeling of like 2 steps forward and 1 step back, where every time you progress, something pops up that holds you back a bit. And what's coming in this message is a shift in perspective that's needed, where even with a back step, you're still being supported, right, by these stepping stones. And a step back isn't the same as completely falling off course and drowning, right? This is just a moment to pause, especially with the companion card here, and get a second opinion before you continue. It's actually exactly like I just started this reading, moving in one direction and then realized that that wasn't the message. So I've had to backtrack, right, and check in with our guides. And this is the message. It's just their way of playing innocent tricks on me. And they think that this is funny. Yeah, so the companion is the King of Spirals. And Spirals is the suit of fire or wands for this deck. So this is the King of Wands. And he is going to urge us forward, right? Because fire spreads quickly and easily, but the king's on top. And as the king, he's grounded into the earthly element. So this is a fire that burns strong, but is contained and powerful, right? This would be the energy that can take on any challenge that comes its way. It would be like really quick to react, but in the right way, taking the correct actions and not letting the stressors of the situation put the fire out. So as the companion, this would be exactly the type of person that you would want to turn to for advice. And with Ariadne here, this is the death card. But there's quite a lot to talk about with this specific death card. So first of all, death is always a card that speaks of transformation. And we've got the Phoenix over here as well. So really this energy of rising above. And I'm going to go on a tangent here, but it needs to be recognized, right? It's Easter Sunday. By the time you're watching this, it might be not Easter Sunday anymore, or definitely it's already quite late in the day. But it is Easter Sunday as I speak. Having the death card and the Phoenix come through with this resurrection energy and the King of Fire, right? Easter is this day to remember that the Christ energy exists within us, right? This is why Jesus sacrificed himself for us, to open up these pathways So now we have a direct connection. Oh my goodness, of course. So with the companion, this isn't looking for someone outside of yourself to speak with. This is connecting within, right? To your heart and soul or energy, to connect to your Christ consciousness for advice on this redirection. So why have you taken these steps back? And maybe in taking a step back, like you take a backward step, you realize that there was a stone here that you didn't see, right? Or you didn't think that it could carry you or whatever reason, but suddenly it's dawning on you now that that is the right direction. But you needed to step back to see it because before it was behind you. Is that making sense? I hope it makes sense. So back to Ariadne, because I went on this tangent. And actually really interesting because she is this goddess or princess tied to the constellation of the Corona Borealis, right, which is this crown. And she was, I always struggle to not over explain, but you can see behind her is the labyrinth, and she's holding a ball of yarn out to you. And this is so that when you go into the labyrinth, right, into the depths of this maze of your subconscious, right? And in her myth, it was slaying a minotaur. But this would be symbolic of you slaying your own demons or your own shadows. This would be the same as this Archangel Michael energy that keeps coming up. This idea that we are responsible for conquering our own shadows, right? And her ball of yarn is this gift to you, that as you navigate your shadows, you can have this peace of mind that you can always find your way back out of this darkness. So the ball of yarn is like the breadcrumbs or stones from Hansel and Gretel. So as death, it's this idea of not being afraid to let go of things or to cut things out, right? Oftentimes we are afraid to start something new or let go of something comfortable because we can't imagine what's on the other side of it. Or rather, we fear that we won't make it to the other side, right? So this is the symbolism of the ball of yarn, right? It's like we're going to go through this cycle with the labyrinth. We have this lesson to learn. And don't be afraid to let yourself learn it. And then with the stepping stones reversed, it really is this message of don't be afraid to take these backward steps, right? Because with the labyrinth, you have to retrace your steps to find your way out. This is a necessity, right? This is finding your way out of the darkness. And it's funny because with the elephant and the phoenix, I'm brought right back to the King of Fire card, because you've got this balance between the grounding earthy energy of the king and then the rising energy of the fire here, right, with the elephant and the phoenix. So this is the strong energy of staying your course, right? A back step is not knocking you off. A back step could very much be staying your course. You are firmly grounded, right? There's no being knocked over. This is backwards movement, right? It's not the same as losing course. So this is where we need to change perception. Remember that you're still being held up because you're still on a stepping stone. Stepping backwards, it doesn't mean you've fallen off. This is just the course correction that allows you to transform and rise like the phoenix from the ashes. So this week, what we're actually asking is not how holding yourself back, right? It's not about how are you holding yourself back. That was wrong. This message is more about shifting your perspective. So think about where in life you may feel pulled backwards. And then what I want you to do is to lean into the emotion that rises out of feeling, like thinking about focusing on that feeling of being pulled backwards. So lean into the emotion that rises out of you when you reflect on that, rather than hiding from it. And then, what is this here to teach you? Right? Because we are meant to connect inwards to our Christ consciousness. That's why these pathways were created for us. Tap into that connection and let yourself feel it, right? Because we can cultivate and tap into real emotions. This is real energy. And because it's real energy, we can move it through us just by consciously connecting. It's an amazing gift, right? It's this idea that emotions are energy in motion. I'm sure you've heard that line before. It's like, you know, if you're watching this reading, you're the type of spiritual person, I'm sure, that would have come across that. But we can actually achieve a lot in our shadow work just by allowing ourselves to cultivate and then experience these emotions, just consciously connecting. And honestly, once you've done that, real life doesn't necessarily get easier, but you've shifted your perspective and you've allowed yourself to experience emotions that you were afraid to before. And this is why the stepping stones that you may have passed by before, now they're showing up to you as really good options in regards to pathways opening up to you, right? Because your perspective is shifted and you're not operating out of fear. So that is this week's message. It's very roundabout, or perhaps it's more spiraling in and then back out like the labyrinth, right? But I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you're able to sit through this exercise and cultivate these holy emotions. Yeah. Happy Easter. And I'm going to wish you all an amazing week. Bye, guys.